Well, welcome to Grumpy Old Late Reds. Evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to Grumpy Old Reds. Mine says, "Find him, Wolfie." Interesting concept you have come up with there. Do we need to do some punishment forfeits for people that are late?
The problem is, like footballers, we get paid so much for doing this that money really, it's not.
That is true. Fine's just going to be like,
yeah,
you know what I'm
it
saying?
doesn't mean anything.
It means you can't get your car valeted fully for that week, you know.
Yeah.
Hope you guys are doing well in the chat. How are we? How are we feeling about yesterday? I can't quite make my mind up, hence why I'm interested to see what these C-nuts have to say for themselves. As always, make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you've subscribed. And we have an additional new emoji. The day he decides to be late, his emoji launches. So get your Rob emojis in the chat. What do you reckon to it, Rob? What do you reckon?
I can't say. Oh, wait. I'm in StreamYard, so I'm going to have to go into YouTube and open this window in parallel.
The conceited man himself is going all the way across to have a look at it.
Okay, you're just making another YouTube view. That's all that you want, isn't it? Right, how do I see it? What does it look like?
It's in the live chat, mate. Guys, if you remember, spam it in there. Let's see Rob in that chat. What do you reckon, Rob? I need a picture of you in that famous jumper, man. The blue jumper. Compare it alongside Cluffy's jumper. The amount of people talk about it.
This is the black one. It almost looks blue. So how do you get that? How do you get that emoji to come up? Then you just click on.
Yeah,
click you go to the emojis. If you go to the top, yeah.
Look at his face, man. It's like Christmas.
Yeah, all right. They all look the same. My screen's too small.
Put your glasses on, mate. Anyway, we're not here for Rob. We're here for the football. So Forest drew 0-0 with Arsenal in really what was a bit of a bore fest, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. And this was the Ant Derby. How was it for you, mate?
Well, it's quite funny.
I didn't say it. Ben was going to say it, and you'd have kicked off at him.
Yeah, well, it's quite funny because we had a number of people around us yesterday that actually recognised us, and a couple of guys sitting behind me. I turned around to him and says, "Right, you fucking watch me during this match, and come on and tell them lot whether I'm an Arsenal fan or not." You know what I mean? Yeah, it's. Listen, I'm happy enough with the result. I don't mind drawing it home to Arsenal, okay? I don't think that that's a bad result at all, even in their current guise. But I do think that we paid them a little bit too much respect. And we over-defended against a team that basically had no attack. So it was always going to end up the way it did. And I think that we could have put a little bit more pressure on them. And I think with Calafiori at left back, I think there was an opportunity down that side. And we didn't really try it at all. I mean, we even swapped wingers. I'm not quite sure why. I mean, Cho did okay on that side, don't get me wrong, but I don't know why we swapped wingers because, you know, Kalimutan-Odoi is not slow. He's quite a quick player, but it's not Elanga pace. And I think that, and I said before the game that their weak link is Calafiori. He's great going forward. He had a good game going forward. But defensively, he really is a liability on that left side. He's a central defender. That's what he is. And we didn't really take any advantage of it. I mean, he was booked after 2 minutes, which shows you. As soon as that happened, I turned to my brother. I said, "There we go. You know, that's it now. Cho will be at him or Elanga will be at him." No, not really. So
did that frustrate you? Just on that point,
I'm disappointed with the performance because I think we could have done more. I think Arsenal were there for the taking. They were never going to score. I said that before the game. On other podcasts, I've said it. They will not score against our defence. And they really, you know, Calafiori had the chance to hit the post, but they actually had one shot on target and we had two. So, you know, that tells you everything you need to know, really. So, in short, satisfied with the point, but a little disappointed in the display. It was boring, by the way. Incredibly boring.
Probably the end of the stream because there's not much else to say on it. That's not bad. I'm joking. We're still going on. I just, Rob, on that point of Calafiori getting booked in the first minute or two, Why did we not target that side? Like, I don't know if you'd agree. I would have thought switch Alanga across there. Even though I thought Chow was shout out for man of the match yesterday, but just target that, get that second yellow, man. It was just like, didn't really do much, especially in that first half. I don't know. What was your take on it?
Hudson-Odoi beat his man a couple of times on that side. I was actually really impressed with him last night. He got some really good crosses in. His right foot was perfect for those. He was putting crosses into the danger area, but there wasn't really anybody there to convert it. But he does seem to have gained pace this season, because it's the second time. The Wolves games are the first one. He just went round his guy on the outside and just completely skinned him. It looked a bit of a penalty from where I was, but it's a sort of, when you see it from the side, it's just a hand on the shoulder, and it wasn't really much in it. Yeah. But I think you have to appreciate the extent to which he was covering Aina last night. And I've never seen Hudson-Odoi get back and tackle so much. He really was all over the place. For me, he was man of the match. I know Murillo got man of the match, and Murillo was outstanding. But so I think that Hudson-Odoi, with his defensive duties, maybe wasn't there to take advantage of Calafiori's yellow card as much as maybe he could have done. I think by contrast, on the other side, Anthony Elanga really phoned it in last night. I just didn't see anything from him. I was really disappointed. It looks like he's gone off the boil again. So a tale of two wingers for me. But you cannot fault Hudson-Odoi. And it feels almost like someone was watching our analysis of the Newcastle and Fulham games, because, we said nobody's helping Aina out. Other teams are targeting him. Other teams are doubling up on him. And he got the support he needed. I didn't feel like he had a great game last night, Aina, but he wasn't as bad. And I think that Nuno's presumably hoping that if he keeps faith in him, he'll play his way through this period of quite poor form he's had. Sorry, I ended up talking about three players there, but I thought fantastic last night. I really, really liked what I saw from him. I just wish he had a left foot. We finally saw him use his left foot for a shot, and it wasn't very good, was it?
Yeah, if he had that shot on the left side, I reckon it probably goes in. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like you kind of wanted two Callum Hudson-Odois on the pitch. Three, because you needed him a right back.
Can I just put in about Callum? Yeah, I've got to give Callum Hudson-Odoi's flowers for his defensive display last night. He was brilliant defensively last night, which is not something I really associate with him. And perhaps perhaps I should take a bit more notice of it, because last night
he's been lazy on the left side getting back.
Yeah, okay. So it's not just me. It's not just me then. Yeah, he was. He's tracking back and his interceptions, and he was really good, really good.
But does that then, Ben? Does that then cause us a problem? Because Callum Hudson-Odoi was playing at right back. I don't know where Aina was half the time. And then when we win the ball, it was just lump it back into Arsenal's half, and there was no one there apart from Wood. And he played at right back at one stage. He had to do a sliding tackle to prevent a ball going in.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like based on what I saw, and also based on what Nuno said afterwards, there was a big focus yesterday on defense. Effectively, it looked to me like they wanted to go out there and keep a clean sheet. And to be fair, they did. But obviously, that kind of distracted us from going on the usual counterattacks that we do and what we've been doing all season. But I think in context of the recent 4 or 5 games, I think we did the right thing last night, because we went out there, we looked solid at the back. Yes, some of the attackers came back to help, but we didn't concede. Sells didn't have that much to do, but when he was called upon, he made some good reactionary saves. And it was his birthday, so happy birthday, Sells. But yesterday, you are against a good team. Yes, Arsenal don't have a striker at the moment, but let's be honest, Arsenal are a fantastic team. And I think to get a point against them and have a solid defense and a clean sheet, for me, was enough. I was happy with the point out the game. The one thing I wasn't happy with is the Calafiori guy getting into our box and having a number of shots. Like, this guy's a left back. I don't think we should be allowing their left back. I mean, you don't see someone like Aina or Nico Williams getting into the opposition's box 3 or 4 times a game and having shots on goal. So it does happen occasionally. Obviously, Williams and Aina shoot from the edge of the box sometimes, but the Calafiori guy was almost playing like a central attacking midfielder. So I wasn't too happy with that. But I think for me, you've got to be happy with the point. I think they did a solid job. We've gone back to being confident in defence, and we were only 4 at the back. So I think they did a good job there. And the only other player I would like to shout out from the Arsenal side was Saliba. Saliba was a difference last night for us not winning the game. He made some fantastic tackles, especially on Chris Wood. And my only other opening point was that I much preferred the formation in the second half with 3 in the midfield.
Yeah, which is what I wanted to start with.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I want to ask you boys about this because I was there lying in bed thinking about the game last night. What are you sniggering at, Rob?
I don't want to think of you lying in bed, but carry on.
Okay.
It's not as graphic a description as we normally get, so you're looking.
Yeah.
Well, we are live. Simon's saying, to be fair, the counter-attacks were good. Wood should have scored at least 1. I disagree, and I normally do agree with Site. I feel, and I said this on the player rates, I feel like we've lost a little bit of our punch when we're on the counter-attack. And I don't know if anyone would agree or disagree with that. I just think back to the Liverpool game. Won the ball deep. Elanga swings the ball to Hudson-Odoi, cuts him, bang, goal. Villa match, even the Brighton match, counter-attacks were swift, they were quick. Over these last 3 games, I just feel like it's lump the ball. There's no real plan on the counter-attack, whereas before it felt structured. That this
I think I'm going to freeze. I think I'm going to freeze.
Frozen.
Yeah. And frozen. I think that a few points.
What I'm saying, Ben, is like there was like would create a pocket of space, bang, would hit that space, come out.
Yeah, I get your point, and I agree with it, but I think the risk against Arsenal is if you go on the counter-attack and lose the ball, then you may concede. If you're playing these amazing teams, yes, counter-attack, and you take the risk, you go on the counter, but if you do lose the ball, Arsenal will turn you over so quickly. The pace they play and the possession they had, I think it was a bit risky to play like ultra counter-attacking football.
They didn't have a pacey team out there. They had Jorginho, who I think
I don't mean pace as in speed of the players. I mean the way they move the ball. They're so fast on. They take the ball, they pass it away. We're not really that kind of team, and you can get caught out on the counter-attack. The only other point I wanted to make, and I've said this before, is I don't like Callum Hudson-Odoi on the right. That's not his trick. His FIFA trick is shooting from the left, stepping inside and hitting it with his right foot. I thought Callum Hudson-Odoi had a great game, but for me, he's not going to score from that right-hand side.
But he was crossing the ball in well. I thought there's a really
cross. Don't get me wrong, he played really well, but he's playing it now like a different type of role. He's almost like somebody trying to get assists, whereas before you can have that moment of greatness where he cuts inside and scores a goal and you win the game 1-0. That's not going to happen on the right-hand side.
Just going back to sorry, I just want to say, just catch up on the super chats. Jack GG with the 199. Thank you so much, buddy. Much love. Alejandro with the 2,500. He says, Rob is great. The best football acumen.
Rob, is that one of your burners?
I promise that he's not a sock puppet account. I think it's.
I can say Alejandro is old school. He's usually very level-headed. He's usually got a lot of football IQ about him.
But he's animated there.
Maybe it's his night out.
How much alcohol have you
drank? He's had a few. Alejandro, you're gonna have to elaborate on that, bro. But thank you for the 2.5. Appreciate it.
I think he made crib.
Yeah, Rob's just smiling away tonight. Like a little happy clapper in that corner now. Matthew with the 17.
Turns up 10 minutes late and then spends the whole time smiling.
3 minutes.
He's got an emoji. He's got freaking little fanboys and Alejandro now. And then he gets brought back down to earth.
You should see Rob in the Trent Nav. If someone doesn't recognize Rob in the first 5 minutes of walking in the Trent Nav, he's kicking off. He's basically going up to people saying, have you watched Forest Fan TV? Do you know who I am? Seriously, that's what he's like.
It's worth it when they say yes.
That's an exaggeration.
Seb with the £2. He goes, Rob is always late. We're learning that the hard way, Seb. Incredibly selfish behavior. Well, a man gets an emoji and suddenly,
it's gone to his head. It's gone to his head.
You start to see the true colors. That's all I'm saying. Guys, we got over 200 already in the house. 72 likes. Let's get it over 100. Make sure you've hit that like button. Excuse me.
I'll say something while Wolfie's.
No, I'll get back to the point I was making then.
Ant's frozen again. It's all gone wrong.
I'm not frozen. What are you on about?
You were.
You are.
You were.
I'm not. I'm not frozen. I haven't been frozen. I know this before you do when I'm frozen. Trust me.
This is deteriorating rapidly. Somebody say something sensible quick.
Because there's no.
Jolly already said something sensible. Rob is a knob. Well said, Jolly.
Right. I'll get back to the point I was making about the issue with the attack, particularly yesterday. When we're good, we attack by passing the ball quickly. So sometimes it's only 3-4 passes and we're on goal. Yeah, I think we'd all agree with that.
Yeah.
Last night, because we were so very, very deep, we had no midfield at all in a forward position to be able to make passes out to the wings. And even the wingers, as we just said, were coming, especially Hudson-Odoi, were coming right back to defend. So the only way we got rid of the ball was to oof it. And when you oof it against some teams, thank you. When you oof against some teams, you get away with it. Against Arsenal, they've got Saliba and Gabriel. They don't very often. They do make mistakes like all footballers, but they don't very often miss out. And I think they won every single header last night. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that we've got worse as an attacking side necessarily. Right. I think it's because we were defending so deep that the only option was a big ball out, which was gobbled up by their defenders.
And some of those last tackles Saliba put in on Chris Wood were
that was a brilliant tackle. That was a brilliant tackle. But I actually thought Gabriel played better. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. So I think that's why we looked particularly impotent last night, because we were defending too deep. That's the bottom line. We spent nearly the whole game defending too deep. That's not to say we shouldn't have defended, but there's a difference, isn't there, in playing Cooper ball defensive play and Nuno defensive play normally. I.e., we're a little bit further up the pitch and we have players in a position to receive the ball and create attacks. That's like
that is true. That is true as well from Sci-Fi.
Okay, but they lost to West Ham. Look, I don't think you can say this Arsenal team is headspace. They may have the best defense, but their headspace yesterday wasn't in the game. I agree with you.
Defense has not been there. Sorry, Wolfie. Defense has not been their problem all season. Midfield has not been their problem all season. I mean, I watched a lot of the AFT after game reactions last night. None of them were pissed off about the performance. They all said we were brilliant in defense, brilliant in midfield, but we can't score. And that's what we all know. So if they can't score, then that means that you should be a little bit more comfortable in pushing out a little bit and actually going on the attack occasionally. But we didn't. We thought, oh God, this is Arsenal. They're fantastic. Look at all the goals they scored. We better sit back with 10 men behind the ball.
The thing is,
hence 0-0.
It looked to me like they basically. I'm not saying this in a negative way, but it looked to me like they'd almost gone out to get a draw. Like, you know, in the last 10 minutes of the game, Sells was holding the ball, trying to keep the ball. They were playing for the draw, effectively. They wanted the point. Obviously, you want 3 points.
Maybe not necessarily playing for a draw, Crypto, but playing to not concede a goal. Playing for a clean
exactly. Yeah, it's not risky counter-attack runs, etc.
I think that's fine. I think that Nuno was trying to do a bit of a reset or a rebuilding job. Definitely by all of the interviews I've seen, it was a kind of back to basics. We need to sort our defense out, and then we can think about scoring and beating people again. But we have, it was 2 off-form teams who are much stronger in the defense than they are in the attack. It seemed to, you made a very good point there. Arsenal won every single header. In fact, I am the #1 advocate of long goal kicks because I'm traumatized by trying to play out from the back, especially with the likes of MT in goal last season, and the number of times the keeper would pass it straight to the opposition and tippy-tappy on the edge of our box. Just get rid. But my God, it was relentless. Every single Sells goal kick was
it wasn't just
down.
Sells, Rob. It was all the defense. It wasn't just Sells, it was all the defense.
Or a long clearance. So those centre pairing of Arsenal were heading the ball. They were winning the header, and they were always heading it straight to the feet of an Arsenal player who would go on a run against us. And I was thinking, like, God, can't we just try and build from the back just once? Because even I'm sick of it now.
Thank you. So I was right, is what you're saying.
I started to get the point last night. But having said that, if you're dead set on keeping a clean sheet, then playing second in the league is maybe not the time to experiment with tippy-tappy at the back. And remember that fixture last year, right? We low blocked our way through the first half. Then Matt Turner did a stupid. Yeah. So let's not go back there, right? The one benefit of always kicking it long is that you never get pressed into giving the ball away, as we were many times last season. So I don't know.
And Arsenal are the last team you want to be playing farting about at the back, because they do press. They press with 6 men. 6.
So
you know what
just
I mean?
a quick point. I know Wes is here, and you want to ask him a quick point about the attack. I think that I think it was a case of 4 individuals last night, right? So Elanga was a ghost last night. Hudson-Odoi had a lot of defensive duties. Morgan Gibbs-White was really over-elaborating. He will never, ever play the simple pass. If he gets the ball, he'll never just do a 1-2 with somebody. He's always trying to do the unexpected thing, but he seems to be confusing his own teammates. And in terms of Chris Wood's performance, I can't really fault it. There was the time he failed to control that long ball from Gibbs-White, which was good, but I have to say, Chris Wood did a lot of really good defending last night that possibly doesn't go recognised. Taiwo looked more capable of creating something when he came on.
Fiery when he came on, man.
Yeah. Can we bring Ez up to date? Rob's been talking for 26 minutes. Can we hear what?
I've not missed anything.
Fact checkers say false. Carry on.
Especially
I think it's been pretty even between Anne and Rob. Well, I get what you guys are saying. I don't know. The reason I don't know how I feel about this game is because if you said to me, Arsenal and Man City next, I would like 3 points against Arsenal and then play like that against Man City and get a draw against Man City, because at least Man City have strikers and attackers. Arsenal didn't. It's like I think we showed them too much respect. As I don't know. I'm happy with the point. I'm just not happy with some of the setup.
Yeah, and I think you kind of touched on it, how we came out against Liverpool. The tempo was up. So I think what I've noticed, anyways, we seem to be matching the tempo of the teams we're up against. Now, Arsenal yesterday, they were happy to hold on to it. They're taking their time, and it kind of played into their hands, because we couldn't react to it. And the speed of the game, I'll put it in 2 ways. Straight after the game, I was really disappointed. I felt that was a chance wasted against a team that they were toothless, let's put it that way. And if we just upped our tempo a little bit, I felt we could have got something, 2 more points out of that game. So I was really disappointed after the game. On reflection now, 24 hours or so nearly later, I'm happy with the point. But I still feel like there was an opportunity wasted there. But it does go down to, we seem to be matching our opponents rather than dictating the tempo in games, especially at home. Yesterday was one for the taking, in my opinion. And you just touched on Taiwo. I mean, Ant will tell you, I was begging for Taiwo to come on so much sooner. I was like, this is a game for him. Yeah, and no disrespect to Wood, he couldn't impact in that game. You touched on also about Callum Hudson-Odoi's role yesterday, which was much more disciplined than we've seen in the past. But he had the opportunity to take on Calafiori, and both me and Ant said as soon as he got that early booking, what we don't do, we never play on it. We never get that. We never attack down that side. And I didn't expect us to do it either yesterday. But what Hudson-Odoi did yesterday was the same thing. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I do feel we kind of touched on it in the last podcast, whether Aina's being targeted. And I felt like that again as well yesterday, because even Wanyeri, he's come all the way across to get involved in the play down that side. And if it hadn't been for Hudson-Odoi's discipline for me yesterday, I think we would have probably been caught out a lot more down that side. So that seems to be something that I would have been happy if of these two games, if we we're going to take Aina out of the limelight for a game or two, I would have rather taken him out yesterday. I think he will suit the game against Man City. I think you can't drop him for Man City, but yesterday was probably a game you possibly could have rested him. All that aside, the tempo wasn't right for me, and I do still feel like it was 2 points dropped because they've got no attack. You know, we had the opportunity to really go at them, and maybe an earlier substitution with Taiwo might have given us a bit more chance, but that's, you know, neither here nor there. But overall, you got to be happy with a point. The fact that I feel disappointed just shows where we've got to. You know, I'm disappointed with a point at home against Arsenal. In any other season, you snap your hands off for that. But yeah, yesterday was just a chance wasted, I feel.
We're on 98 likes. I'm getting some pure ICD, guys. So if two of you haven't hit that like button,
we have now. Yeah,
make sure you've hit that like button. I gotta ask you boys this question. We're third in the league. It's been the best since like the Frank Clark days. Last time we were here. Does it feel flat at the moment, or is like everyone like walking on?
I think it is getting nervy now because the teams are gathering below us.
I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about the fan base in general.
No, I'm saying that.
And you're probably best placed to say this because you obviously went to every single game that season. When we had that sticky patch,
but we were brilliant though. We were brilliant.
Yeah, but even when we had that sticky patch, what was?
Yeah, but that's because Stan wasn't there. That's because Stan wasn't there. We knew that as soon as Stan come back, we'd be flying again. And
I think that's what
so
it was.
It was never. It wasn't like this season. We were just so good. You know, we went to Man U 1-2-1. We went to Tottenham 1-4-1. We went to Wednesday 1-7-1. We went everywhere we went. You know, we were just winning home and away. And we were playing fantastic football as well.
Just put you on, man,
that brings you up when you're playing like we're playing, which is a kind of defensive football and not scoring many goals. You're always worried.
Yeah, just and the reason I mentioned that, and the reason I asked that now, because I can't remember a flat. Even though we had those poor results, you know, around Christmas time, I can't remember us going flat. We were still really confident because, like Ant said, we knew once Stan's back, you know, it's a different game altogether. You know, so yeah, that was the difference I think in that season. Sorry,
because there's been some. Sorry, Ben, I'll bring you in. There's some answers saying yes about the flatness. Like I'll put a poll up. But do you guys understand the point I'm making? Let me know in the chat. Does it feel a little flat to you? Like, what was the atmosphere like in the ground? Was it bouncing?
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Considering how shit the game was,
yeah,
it was pretty decent.
So we've got to remember that we won 8 games in a row. So anything other than that, it feels like a bit of a come down afterwards. Now, we've just had 3 defeats in 4 games, right? So I fully agree that if we just had 8 wins in a row, we would be thinking, damn it, we should have put Arsenal to bed last night, yeah? But both teams are on dodgy form right now. So, you know, I was perfectly happy with the draw from that. Perfectly happy. I mean, obviously the Man City game now is the real big test for us because that's a 6-pointer. And we have to win that one to stay third because Chelsea have got a banker at home to Leicester, right? So that is the biggest game we've got left this season, that Man City game. But, you know, we've had 8 in a row. Then we've had a period where it's all come apart. Like the Bournemouth was horrible. And then, you know, the first half against Fulham where we're just getting overrun was horrible as well. So people are now sort of looking over the shoulder at the teams coming up behind us, and we don't seem to be firing on all cylinders. So, yeah, people are now getting a bit scared of losing that third place that we fought so hard for and feeling like the team isn't quite firing on all cylinders. But, you know, I wouldn't say flat. I thought the atmosphere was good.
I'm not just talking about it. I'm talking in general. I think Knightley here's got it right. I think that's what I'm thinking here. I'm not quite sure what I'm thinking.
It's the transfer window. That's what it is. If we brought some interesting players in over the transfer window, then we'd be thinking, oh, let's try different different configurations, different lineups.
Ben mentions the transfer window.
I'm not mentioning anything. I'm not mentioning that. The one thing
when you lose 3 out of 4 games, the fan base is bound to be nervy.
Yeah, but we lost more than 3 out of 4 games under Cooper. Do you know what I mean? It never got really this flat.
No, yeah.
I was like down. I was down.
Yeah, but it still wasn't flat. You were angry down, like demanding more. I'm just talking about this is freaking Keira Knightley settings, man.
I think what we need to do is get over this City game. Hopefully, we can get at least a draw out of it. And then with the rest of the games, hopefully, we can start picking points up again. As soon as we start picking points up again, the fan base will be up again.
Yeah.
And you know what?
The fan base is worried. It's nervy.
Absolutely. And let's not overlook this, because we're one game away in the FA Cup from being in the quarterfinals. The closer you're getting towards some sort of silverware, and even in that tournament, everything should be going in the right direction. I kind of, like I've said this over the last 3 or 4 podcasts, this run of games, I expected a bit of, we're going to struggle to get points. But so I'm not flat because I kind of expected this period, but I do look at our running at the end, and I'm filled with confidence because the amount of points we need to secure a top 5 place is about 18 points, I think. And I think we can easily get 18 points in those last remaining 10 games. And that's the positivity I'm looking at, So you got to look at the teams behind us. Not only have got to get those points, they've got to overtake our lead as well. Yes.
And a lot of them play each other as well as.
Exactly. It is bunching up, but like Ant just said, they're all going to be playing each other. Nobody's stringing a run of 8 games in a row anymore. Newcastle were the only ones who matched us game for game, but nobody else has really done that this season. Even with Liverpool, they draw the odd game. If we were so much closer, somebody could have put some pressure on them. That's the only downside. But obviously, they've walked away with this title. But top 5 finish for us has to be the target, and I think we are best placed of the teams in the chasing pack. We're not in the chasing pack; we're already there. We've got the points on the board. I think that counts for a lot, going into this running.
I think there's two types of mindsets in a fan base. One is reactionary to the game, like I would be. I would react to the latest game, and the other is the people who say, oh, how can you be negative? We're 3rd in the table. No one ever expected this. And
so the happy people.
The happy clappers and the realists.
I don't think that's necessarily a happy clapper. You're a happy clapper if you didn't crap at clapping.
No, but
happy clapper is when you are like Cooper settings, looking like you're getting relegated, but like,
there's always those comments that are, how are you guys so negative? You're 3rd in the table.
That's why that's that you don't understand, because yes, we are 3rd in the table. It's fantastic, and if the season ended today, we'd be fucking, over the moon, as it were, in football parlance. But we're 3rd in the table, and we're happy about that. But we're allowed to be concerned that the last few games we've played, we've not looked very good, and we've lost 3 of them. So we're allowed to be sort of worried that we're not going to maintain 3rd, because we'd like 4th or 5th. We'd like to maintain that. So we're entitled to be concerned about that. Doesn't mean negative.
Let me just land my point.
Nice.
Let me land. The point I wanted to make is that we had those run of games where, we're 7 undefeated, all the stats are coming up, everything's getting posted on social media, and you build this expectation, and then all of a sudden you start losing. And if you're realistic with yourself, you're not going to win every game of the season, right? You're going to lose games. And I think it becomes more disappointing. It's not the fact that it's a disappointment, effectively. We've done so well, and you just want it to continue. And when it stops, it's just that massive realization of disappointment. And I was happy with the point yesterday, but I understand how some people want us to basically start winning every game again, like we were. But it's the same with players, isn't it? Like Morgan Gibbs-White, we've seen him be so good at points that now when he's not so good, people say, oh, he's crap. He's not crap. It's just because we have these higher expectations. The better you do, the more expectations you have. Like let's say we win the FA Cup this year. If next year we'll be expecting to win it again. Do you know what I mean? There's that expectation of the better you do, you want to achieve that or achieve something better going forward.
But there is cause for concern because of the way we've played, and that's, I think, the whole point. But it's the same tactics that Nuno seems to have in the reverse fixtures against these teams. We paid them too much respect. We did that against Arsenal. We definitely did that against Man City away from home. Let's hope that he does fix that from next game. But they're the concerns for me, that in these games where we have lost in the first half of the season, he's not learned from his mistakes in those games, and we're making the same ones in the subsequent reverse fixture. So that's where I'm concerned. But if that then bleeds into the, like say, the last 10 games, where we've got a chance to do doubles over most of those teams, Man United included. Imagine doing a home and away double against Man United by the end of the season. Another one to tick off my list, and I'm sure for most of us guys, we won't have seen that in our lifetime. So there are real positives to look forward to. So I'd be more concerned if we're going into those games, Nuno, withdraws and changes his tactics and doesn't go into those games on the front foot. Bearing in mind how many of those games are at home. So I think we've got is that 11 games left? 6 of those are at home, 5 away from home. So after the Man City game, it will be 5-5. So we've got as good an opportunity as we'll ever probably have to finish in that top 5.
And also, sorry to interrupt you, 8 of the last 10 are bottom half teams versus
bottom half teams, the ones that we did well against. So there's the positives that I'm looking forward to. But yeah, the problem is we are going to get called out a little bit, but we have to dig into the nuances of it. Us just saying, it was a bad game is not going to be good enough. We do have to discuss what we think went wrong, whether it was a formation.
At the end of the day, these streams are after every game. They're here to react to the game. They're not here to react to the season. We can do a season reaction at the end of the season, right? This is to react to the game last night.
Absolutely.
So Go ahead. The lovely Steph with the $5 says, I think I'm feeling flat, so I mitigate potential future disappointment. Interesting. We just can't keep playing like this. Cards on the table, I'm feeling pretty flat about it. I don't know. I was just so bored yesterday. I can't lie, man.
I could say that after this City game, we could start going to games expecting to take points. We didn't really expect to take points away to Newcastle. We didn't really expect to beat. I did, but a lot of people wouldn't expect it to beat Arsenal. We don't expect to beat City, but after that, we'll be going to games where we'll be buzzing up.
Yeah, I agree. I was sat next to Ant all game, and he got to a point where he was just chatting rubbish, just because we were literally so bored. And he says to Ez, "Why aren't you reacting?" No, but normally he's got something to shout about, but we had nothing to talk about, and that was the point. He said, "Why aren't you responding?" I said, "Ant, literally, they've given us nothing to shout about. Occasionally, you'll have a meaty tackle going. Sorry, could have worded that better. But you'd have a tackle going in or something like that. Something that will get the fans. Something that will get the fans off their feet. But that didn't happen yesterday. Apart from I think the best chance they had was hitting the post, but we didn't create too many opportunities to get the fans involved. So it was flat. I don't know what game Rob was at, but the atmosphere was flat.
Well, I knew Rob was fired up because I got a phone call from him before the match to discuss the fine I'd had through for apparently throwing a cigarette out the window, even though I don't smoke. And he was bigging it up, man. He was like, "We'll go into the magistrates' court. We'll deck the judges." He was firing me up for the Arsenal game, and then it was crap. And
then you said, "Oh, I've paid it." That was so disappointing. Look, I
can't be asked with them.
I could not relax enough to be bored in that game because I had the ringside seat for about 11 Arsenal corners in succession. And I don't know. I don't know. I was right over on the left of right at the top of the Brian Clough stand. And it just felt like
Martin.
It just felt like around about 50 minutes. It was just one corner per minute, and we just couldn't get them off us. And they were doing those stupid corners where they all stand outside the box and they go, "Come on, girls!" and they all run in together. And I'm very happy with how we dealt with it. But here's a question for you: does anybody feel like Arsenal were deliberately trying to get corners?
Yes, they always do.
Yeah, they've got no centre forward to aim for, so that it felt like the wingers were literally just trying to play it off the defender every time, so they could get another corner. And I was thinking, how boring is that? Because when
that's what they do, because they think themselves as set piece specialists.
When Williams and when Hudson-Odoi did get forward, they were trying to cross it to Chris Wood or trying to cross it to somebody. They weren't trying to just think, "Oh, I wonder if I can flick this off the defender's
What
shin
happened
and
with
get
our
a corner."
corner, by the way?
Maybe they should have done, Rob. Maybe they should have done.
What happened with our corner? What happened with our corner?
We had 3 corners.
The one that was offside. What happened there? Did they lay the pass back off or something? I didn't see it.
It's too far away. I couldn't understand it either.
Let me just Jack with the second super. Hold on, one second.
Go on.
Chat with the second super chat of the night with the 199. It says +1 evening, boys. Give Milenkovic the armband now. Bro, he should have had it at the start of the season. Yeah. He really should. Thank you so much. Jackie boy.
That yellow card that Milenkovic got in the first minute was absolutely stupid, obstructing a free kick or something. And then Arsenal players went and did it 3 or 4 times in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, but he actually stuck his leg out and stopped it in flight, Rob. That's different to standing in the way.
Oh, it looked more accidental to me. I guess
no it definitely wasn't from my angle.
I guess it's not in the highlights package, right? It's not in the highlights package, but I don't know. I just felt it. I don't know. Felt a bit stupid, but he didn't give anything away after that. So fair play to him.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I've seen Nuno look as pleased after a match for a long time. It was beaming. He said it was a great match, and I think that's because it was a great match from a manager's point of view because they did exactly what he wanted them to do, and it succeeded. I.e., we didn't let a goal in. I think that's all he was bothered about. He was beaming. But Rob makes a point about defending from corners. Yes, very important. We need to get that solidity back. And if we've got that solidity back, it gives us a massive chance.
But is it feeling disconnected, Dan? Does it feel like when we defend really well, suddenly we lose the inability to attack? And if we're attacking, we look all over the place at the back.
I think it depends on who you're playing. I think it depends on who you're playing.
If this, I'll be honest with you, if this was Cooper right now in the form he was in, there'd be a lot harsher words being said.
Yeah, no, but we shouldn't mention that name on this program because it's irrelevant now. We've moved on.
I don't think,
and we weren't third in the table under Cooper.
Exactly.
So it makes a difference.
Yeah, and if Cooper had got 8 wins in a row, then we wouldn't be talking like that about him.
And won loads of games away and beating Liverpool at Anfield and beating Man U at Old Trafford.
Out there, that's all I'm saying. Guys, please don't forget to hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed as well if you're new. All right, let's do a fun topic because this is going to get the chat going. Ryan Yates should start every game from now on, according to many comments and messages I've seen. Who's next to kill? Is it Rob or Ben? I can't remember. Who wants to kill this off?
Give it to Ben, he loves it.
We know what Ben's going to say.
Give it the big penalty notice up there.
Ben, kick it off, then Rob jump in. I'm going to eat my final slice of pizza. Go on.
I'm not sure about starting him every game for the rest of the time, but I actually quite liked the formation and personnel on the pitch when we made the changes yesterday. Yeah, so I would be tempted to start against Man City, basically how we were set up in the second half with Danilo and Yates on the pitch and having the 3 midfield, because I thought we looked a lot better. We still defended really well, but we actually managed to create a few chances as well. So look, it comes back to this thing where, and Anne doesn't usually agree with me on this, but Yates is the type of player who he can change the game because he's got that kind of like brawlness about him, if that's a word, where he goes on, he winds the opponent up, he wins fouls, he gets tackles in. Yes, he's not the most skillful. Yes, he's not the best passer in the world. The thing that annoys me most actually is when he passes the ball backwards instead of progressing up the pitch. But if you want to have someone to be on the pitch and win, it only takes a moment to score. If he can win a free kick on the edge of the box, if he can wind someone up and get someone sent off, yes, it's not the most skillful thing in the world, but he is a game changer in that sense. And to be honest, and I'm starting to agree with people, we were winning more matches when Ryan Yates was on the pitch.
I thought when Danilo and Yates came on, it changed the game for us. We looked far more solid, far better side. Danilo's actually playing a lot of the time as a 6. I don't know if anybody noticed that. He was the last man in defence.
He was behind the defence a few times, wasn't he? He actually came back like a sweeper. He was. So maybe that's how we play out from the back.
And you lot won't have seen this. You lot won't have seen this because he was at the Trent end. but he came forward in the second half and he did this little flick, like kicked it onto one heel onto the other one to get past the player.
I did see it. I couldn't figure out what he's done.
Beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah,
in an attacking position on the byline. Yeah.
And just to back up your point quickly, that where you said Danilo was acting like a 6 yesterday, I think that's why the combination of Danilo and Yates worked well, because it's usually Yates who sits back and falls back into defense, whereas Danilo was doing it. And because of that, Yates was actually going forward, and he looked so much better going forward.
I've got to say, when Yates came on, it really solidified that midfield. You could see it straight away. I have to say that.
So we had the chance to look at all three of them last night and see their various qualities. Now, I said at halftime I thought Dominguez had a good first half, but I wasn't aware that it was him that got turned by Calafiore. Now, that said, I think he might have sort of pulled up in that or injured himself or tweaked something as he did it, because he was limping straight afterwards. So I don't know exactly what happened there, but I had the worst possible view of that. I was diagonally opposite, so I didn't see it. I did feel like Dominguez pressed and he got stuck in and did some good tackles. But when Yates came on, you got the chance to compare him directly with Dominguez. I feel like Yates is stronger and he's better in the air. And actually, strangely, I think he exercises better judgment about when to go in and not to go in at the moment. I think Dominguez is launching in a little bit too much. I don't know whether Dominguez tired as well, whether that's why he came off. I feel like Yates can play a 90 minutes, whereas I just don't feel we've ever seen Dominguez play 90 minutes. Maybe I'm wrong. And then in terms of what Danilo offered when he came on, I think they like to play him so deep just because he's got such a good passing range. So if he's like mingling back with the defense, he can basically see everybody in front of him and pick out a long pass. So that's what you get from him that you don't get from the other two, because you can't really imagine Dominguez or Yates sort of spraying the ball around from that quarterback position. So we kind of got to see all three last night and compare their various qualities. The one we didn't see was Sangaré, which is like, where's he gone now?
This is where I want to go with this, because I think this is all. I think Sangaré will probably play the cup game, and then what's the gap between that and the Man City game? Because
Saturday, don't we?
Monday to Saturday, yeah.
It's Monday
to Saturday, or is it Sunday? We play Man City. We play Man City on Sunday.
It's Saturday, so I think it's
Saturday. Okay. Right, so this is for me, it's make or break. He doesn't seem to be fancying Sangaré at all. And if you're not going to play Sangaré, then Yatesy, I've got to say, is the next best option, because he does give us that something different. He came on the pitch, like the guys have already said, and he seemed to make a difference in that game. And maybe if he coming on earlier or even starting with him, would have worked out better for us. But I think from Dominguez's point of view, and I think that's what I want to finish off on, is certainly after his Instagram post, he's been given the opportunity. Now, I don't think he's taken it, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think he's shone in these two games. And yesterday, I actually thought he was poor, Rob. I really thought he was poor. The times when I would have expected him to go and press, he didn't press yesterday. We were so deep, it was laughable at times, because they just kept coming on to us and closer to our penalty area, to the point where Calafiore is the furthest player forward, you know. So I don't think he did well yesterday. Yatesy came on and made a difference. Yatesy was big part of our 8-game winning run, so there's nothing to say that you wouldn't put him in, but I don't understand why.
You know, it wasn't 8 games. Yeah.
Say again, sorry. It
wasn't 8 games.
What was 8-game win, wasn't it?
It was 8 games in the cup. It was 7
in the league, 1 in the cup. That's 8 games.
Oh, you did the whole all competitions thing.
Yeah.
I've got a theory about Sangaré, by the way. I know I've just had a long go, but I've got a theory about Sangaré.
Yeah, no, but I want to know. I want to know where is Sangaré and Nuno's thinking.
Theory about him, because you've got 4 people fighting for one place, right? Now, I think Sangaré is too nice and too laid back of a guy to go into Nuno and bang the table and say, I want to start, right? Because when you think about it, Dominguez got left out and he whined. We've been hearing that Danilo has been whining as well, right? For being left out. Yates was the captain, and for some fans, he's a fan favourite, right? So Yates has got a strong case.
Well,
Sangaré is, I think, he's too much of a nice guy and too much of like a low reactor to assert.
That's a load of bollocks, Rob.
No, I think he should say,
don't pick players because they come in and whine. You don't pick players because they come in and whine.
No, but can you not see there's competition? There's 4 players fighting over for one spot beside Anderson, and
I disagree.
I think that it may come down to personalities. That Sangaré is not demanding to be picked, and maybe if he was
you demand on the training pitch, not in the office. That's where you show you should be. You make your demands on the training pitch by training.
I tell you what, I was surprised to see Nuno start Dominguez twice after Dominguez complained. That was a disciplinary issue for me. That is a disciplinary issue. If you go on social media and complain about being on the bench, you drop the next game. You don't get to start the next 2 games after that, right?
I'm just saying, you have to
make them down to personalities. Doesn't Sangaré give you a vibe of like, oh, it's fine if you don't want to pick me?
Yeah, but we don't know Sangaré. We don't know him. We only know what
he's just guessing. And also, he said
the football often appear to be wonderful human beings, and then you find out what they get up to. So,
all right, I'm the only one that thinks this, but I do think I
am glad that Danilo's back in the fold because I was worried about the rumours of a bust up, and I'm glad to see he was back in the fold. And I thought,
you guys are getting this all wrong.
I just want to say one point to Rob.
Wolfie.
Let me just shout out Forest Lion with the 199. He's saying Rudkin out. they're losing to West Ham, by the way. I didn't even know they were playing. Here's the bottom line: Yates isn't good. Danilo isn't good. Dominguez isn't good. Sangaré isn't good.
Ooh,
I'll be straight with you. None of them are good enough. Every time someone doesn't play, then they are better because they're not playing. And thirdly, the only reason Yates looked good or Danilo looked good yesterday is because you put 3 average players in the middle of the park instead of 2. And I can't believe you lot are sitting here and trying to debate which one of them is the better one.
Because we think you're wrong. That's why.
Am I wrong?
Yeah. Yes, you're wrong.
I'm wrong.
To say that Danilo is no good is absolutely outrageous.
How many top half teams do any of those 3 get into?
Danilo getting all of them.
None of them.
All of them.
None of them.
No, right, so hang on a second.
Being serious, he wouldn't get in the top 5 or 6, but he definitely.
We're third.
I disagree with that. Even
you're being silly.
Think back to Jordan Henderson playing for Liverpool. You need a Yates type player. You need someone to do the ugly job, right?
You know what? Yates type player. Let me tell you this: if McAllister was playing in our team, he would look shit. I'm telling you that now. He would look shit in our team.
Yeah, but if McAllister was playing with competent midfielders in our team, he would look good.
Yeah, so if Danilo was playing with competent midfielders,
okay, so then don't tell me they're all competent.
Like Frederick says, we've got to this position with this team, and we're third in the Premier League.
We've got to this position because we bypass the midfield. Why do you think Sales kicks everything long?
We don't come on. When we go on a break,
it's a team game.
Hang on, Crypto. Let me educate him. When we bypass the midfield, that's when the ball gets headed back. When we break through the midfield. We pass. Morgan gives White, Danilo out to the wing, across the wall.
Our transitional play this season.
We don't just boot the ball up and score a goal. That's not how we play.
Because our wingers are the ones creating it. The wingers are creating. I have not seen a Yates, Dominguez, Sangaré, or who's the other one?
What about your man MGW then? Is he brilliant in this team? Or is he crap as well?
I'm not saying he's brilliant, but he's creative.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. He is creative. Yeah, he is.
Yeah. He makes a crap load of mistakes. Don't get me wrong.
He does. He makes a crap load of mistakes. He made a crap load of mistakes.
I'm sorry. No one is going to convince me this midfield's not good. We haven't had a six since As
a midfield, I agree. But that doesn't mean all the component parts are crap. Just because the midfield.
I'm not convinced by any of the components in that midfield apart from Anderson.
That's okay. That's why we're third in the table. It's okay.
Because we bypass them.
No, we don't, though. I just explained to you. We play through the midfield to create our goals. When we do bypass the midfield, we don't do anything.
Which one? Which one? Which goal have we created through passing
Mate, I can't even tell you what the score was last night. That's my memory. So don't bloody ask me which was in goal. But I do know in general.
That stat about the 0-0.
All right, which goal did we score by oofing it up and one player slotting it back into the back of the net then?
I'm not arguing for that.
There we go.
Wait, I'm not arguing for that.
Yes, you are.
I'm saying our wingers create our goals.
No,
I'm saying our wingers create our goals. Our midfield, they're passengers. They're passengers. I'm talking down the middle, man. Put the wingers to one side. I'm talking the 6 and the 8. I'm talking the 6 and the 8 is not good enough.
We can agree to disagree, can't we? That's not a problem.
You can disagree,
but I shall bring it back to you next season when Danilo's playing in a fantastic midfield and he's setting the world alight and everybody's coming in.
Okay, so if you're saying Danilo needs to play into a fantastic midfield,
tell you, you told people he was crap.
I don't think he's good enough. I'm not saying he's crap. I'm saying he's not good enough.
Well, we'll see, won't we? The guy's been injured for 6 months.
So?
Oh, okay.
I didn't see him pulling up trees before that. He scored one decent goal against Brentford.
Last season. One
decent goal against Brentford last year. I'm not convinced by him either. I'm sorry. This midfield is not good enough.
Mate, that's perfectly okay. That's perfectly okay.
Because you're even agreeing without realizing. You're saying that Danilo plays alongside a decent midfield, which by default says the midfield isn't good enough.
Any player in the world has to have. You know these players that play for Real Madrid. They're surrounded by brilliant players. It makes them look better. Each individual looks better.
But you're missing the point. You're saying if Danilo's surrounded by those midfielders, that means you're kind of saying that he's not surrounded by those midfielders.
Yes, I just said to you, the midfield as a group is obviously not that good.
You agreeing with me, man? What are you saying?
No, because you're picking out my man Danilo, and
I'm picking all of them, barring Anderson. I'm picking out all of it, and I ain't gonna even go as far to say as Anderson is next level yet. I can see the potential, but he's not there yet. Right? That's what
I'd like to see us play a settled midfield and see how it goes.
I'd like to play
in, out, shake it all about. They can't get used to each other's runs. Hang on. They can't get used to each other's runs. They don't know where that player's going to be at any time when they've got the ball. That's how you build a midfield, by having solidity, by having regularity, by playing together. And when you don't, it falls apart because it's the most difficult part.
What else helps? Having the ball and knowing how to pass more than 2 yards. They can't even pass.
That would help.
I think the problem is you need to have the right pairing. So you can't pair, for example, Dominguez and Yates. It doesn't work. But Dominguez and Danilo could work, or Yates and Danilo could work. You can't, in the same way, you can't really pair Dominguez and Sangaré because they're too defensive. You need an attacking-minded midfielder and a defensive-minded midfielder. And if you get that right, I think the midfield would be just fine.
You can't play it with the two. Nick with the 25 months. Thank you so much, bud. And Curtis with the $2 says, I disagree. No patterns of play, so they look bad. I mean, I'm just sorry. Go on, Crypto. Carry on. I was on this catch. Thank you.
Are we giving up on Sangaré then?
I'm not giving up on Sangaré, but it's like, is he ever going to be?
Like Nuno has. It really looks like Nuno has.
Listen, I think he'll definitely start against Ipswich in the cup. And then if his performance is good enough and we obviously get a result, I think he's potentially will start.
He played well against Exeter.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He played well against Exeter. He didn't get
played well against Exeter.
It's a different level.
No, he had 2 assists against that. He did as well as he could against Exeter.
It's a completely different level.
Well, let me just finish my point. But he's still coming back from a long injury. So there is still a recovery period involved in that, yeah?
I think Nuno doesn't trust Sangaré like he trusts some others. And I feel like Sangaré is not asserting his right to play.
One at a time. Sorry,
let me finish my point. I raised the point. Let me finish it. So I believe he will start against Ipswich, and depending on the result and obviously how well he plays, he could potentially start against Man City. I think that will be the last straw for Nuno. If that doesn't happen, then I think for me, he's out of Nuno's plans long term, because I don't understand why he's not been brought back in sooner. But he is coming through a recovery period, so that's what I think will happen. Rob, you jump in and say what you need to say.
Well, no, I was only repeating. I think Nuno doesn't trust Sangaré to start him, and I think that Sangaré is not asserting his right to be picked. And I would think that if I was Sangaré's agent,
can anybody believe this?
Sangaré's agent is looking for a move because every time the player moves, the agent gets a payday. So I think he's unsettled. And he's probably going to go at the end of the season.
He's not.
Yeah, but that's based on absolutely nothing, Rob. You just literally.
He's not being picked.
It's based on nothing.
He's just come back from injury, long-term injury, Rob.
Yeah.
This is starting to sound. Look, you know when Taiwo came back last year, we were still saying 4 months later, oh, he's just come back from injury. How long does this go on?
He looked good last night, though, Rob. Come on.
Yeah, but how long does this just come back from injury last? You know.
Look, the point on Sangaré, boys, is you will not know if Sangaré is good or crap unless he gets a run of 7 or 8 games in the team. There is no way in hell Nuno's going to experiment this late into the season to see if Sangaré is going to get good. So the only way Sangaré gets into this team is if he comes on as a sub, has an absolute blinder, wins the game, scores a 30-yard bullet or something like that.
Well,
otherwise, we ain't going to find out.
He's been experimenting with Danilo. He threw Danilo in against Fulham. He threw him to the wolves against Fulham. So don't say he's not prepared to experiment. He had Yates and Dominguez available, and he just chucked Danilo in there, and it went badly.
Rob, you've been interrupted. You've been interrupted, Rob.
Chris the £2 says, put the crack pipe down, Rob. Crack pipe would go down nicely. All right, let's talk about. Go on, as you gonna say.
No, I was gonna say I think he'll start against Ipswich, and that'll be his chance to prove himself.
We paid 35 million quid for 30 million, for a guy to start against bloody Ipswich, or a championship team, man.
Yeah, but you know,
those are deep our squad is.
yeah, exactly, and we haven't. Obviously, we haven't missed him because we're third in the table. So you know, you got to take it for what it is.
But we may have won it if he'd have been playing it.
Absolutely. I don't agree that Nuno won't play him in these next few games. If he's good enough, he'll get played. But I think he'll have to prove himself against Ipswich. I think
he's got to go in and bang on Nuno's table. Otherwise, he's got no chance.
That's true, Rob.
Apparently watching.
Sangaré had 2 or 3 good games at the start of this season. But I think what counts against him is that he had a couple of games last season that were an absolute horror show, right? I was at the game where Nuno started him against Crystal Palace, and he was so bad he got hooked at half time.
He had malaria.
Plus there was the Fulham game away where he was dreadful and gave the ball away, and we lost 5-0. Now, that was pre-Nuno. But what I'm saying is that you can look back and think of times where Sangaré's had a bad game. And I think that
how many good games has Danilo had, Rob?
Well, at Brighton under our previous manager, where he basically fired us to, what was it, 3-2 win or 4-3? I can't even bloody remember, but he scored 2 goals in that game.
He was brilliant at the end of last season.
What happened against Brighton?
He was good at the end of last season.
Yeah. Look, I just think...
I think he played about the last 11 games, he was absolutely brilliant.
Look, if Nuno is not going to pick Sangaré against Man City, it's not going to start him. That just says to me, right, that's £35 million of player that he doesn't trust to play that big game.
30.
All right, whatever.
Even if it's 35, it's chump change. I don't know why people get so hooked up on the price.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen 70 million.
What Palace paid Frank Nketiah.
Yeah, it's not about the price. It's about who's playing well, who's in form.
I don't care what. It's not my money.
We should all just conclude this discussion now by saying who would we start alongside Anderson against Man City if it was the same formation?
None of them.
Yates.
He'd go with a one-man midfield.
I'll go Yates and Anderson. Right, I've given an answer. Yates and Anderson. What about everybody else?
I probably would, actually. I probably would.
Yeah.
Listen, for me, it's dependent on Sangaré's performance against Ipswich. If he bosses that game and he comes out of it, we get the result, then I start him against...
not necessarily, Ed, because it could be Sangaré, Yates and Anderson and drop Morgan Gibbs-White.
No, he's not going to drop Gibbs-White.
He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that.
No, I'm just saying, if you'd pick in a team, I'm just saying.
I mean, you could drop one of the wingers, you know, you could drop him
a winger, yeah. Be in there. Basically,
you know what I would do? I would put Anderson in the 10, bring Gibbs White in the 8.
You keep saying that. I can't. I know.
Elanga is very droppable.
MG can do things that nobody else in our team can do.
Well, like continuing to give the ball away, still be picked.
Yeah, like pirouetting in the last minute of the match and losing the ball yesterday nearly cost
You
us
said
a
it
goal.
first. You got it in first there.
Good things he does, nobody else in our team can do.
But how often does he do a good thing? It's like once in a blue moon.
When he's on form, he does it, and it makes a difference. Yesterday didn't quite make the difference in that game, but it could have done. Chris Wood had some opportunities out of nothing set up by MG Dub's passing, and nobody else, I believe, can do that.
One of his passes was.
But he's still the number 10 for me. He's still the number 10. He's a better number 10 than Anderson. Come on, man. Anderson plays well and then drifts out of games.
I think I'd put Anderson in the 10. I'd put Anderson in the 10.
No, I wouldn't.
There's no way he drops MGW against Man City.
No, I'm saying MGW in the 8.
If you're playing a number 10, it's MG Dub's a better number 10 than Anderson.
Or 2-8.
I don't know why we're having this conversation again.
Do we need a 10? Not many teams play with a 10 these days. So why not have 2-8s? That would solidify the midfield as well.
We've seen them do that in the Spurs game, wasn't it? Was it the Spurs game at home? And I felt it worked really well. They are tough enough to do that.
Chris Wood doesn't usually play directly through the middle. He's usually off to one side. So really, you don't need a 10. You just need the progressive.
I don't think we need a 10. I think we'd be a lot stronger with 2 8s.
Yeah.
against
Anderson and
Man City, no. Man City, I'd go with 3.
That was my lineup. My lineup yesterday was basically 5 at the back with Anderson and Yates as like that double pivot, and then don't have a 10.
We've got no striker. Why are you going to go 5 out of the back, bro? We haven't got a striker. Why are you going to go 5 out of the back? Like Nuno said.
Because
that's the problem. You're right, Ed. The problem is we did go 8 at the bloody back when they didn't.
Well, let me answer your question. If we went 5 at the back yesterday, I think we would have been more attacking because we would have had a cover of 3 centre backs and we would have been able to play the wing backs going forward more and actually counter attack. Instead, we went 4 at the back and we were panicking about.
I don't think the formation was the problem yesterday. It was how deep
the mindset. I agree.
Yeah, it was the mindset, and like I said, letting them dictate the slow tempo of that game, and not really taking it to him at any stage. And we could have done even coming out in the second half. I understand. Sorry, let me just say this point. I understand why he started with Hudson-Odoi on the right hand side yesterday, but in the second half, why he didn't switch him over and at least give it a try. I just wanted him to try something different in that second half, and he didn't do it.
I couldn't handle it.
Both teams
couldn't handle right back position.
Not only that, I think they took Calafiori off and put Tierney on, and Tierney would have just crushed Elanga. He'd have just crushed him. Tierney is a quality left back.
He inverted. He didn't go wide. He inverted into the center.
Very, very droppable after last night, I have to say.
Who's that?
And Anthony Elanga is looking very droppable for the Man City game. He didn't play well against Man City.
Yeah, but that's reactionary, Rob, because 2 weeks ago you were noshing him off.
No, right? I really felt, as I said earlier, I think he phoned it in last night. And when you took him off and you put another midfielder in, we gained something. Now, remember, when we went to Man City and lost 3-0, we set the whole team up to play Elanga against Kyle Walker, and then Kyle Walker wasn't picked. In fact, he's long gone now, and they seem to have dropped Matheus Nunes back into right back, and he's doing fine there, right? So I just don't see. I don't know. I don't see Elanga.
I don't think we'll play 2 wingers against City. I really don't. I'll be surprised.
I think Christmas tree.
I think that's where we'll sacrifice some forward.
Okay, so our solution to the problem. The solution to the problem of what is to actually play more of these midfielders.
Yeah, but I think we'll play a 3-man midfield against midfielders because they're not good enough. This is the problem.
You're talking about 2 midfielders playing against 4 Arsenal, highly technical Arsenal midfielders.
Forget Arsenal, and pick any other team you want, man. You show me a game this season. Our midfield outplayed the other midfield,
so we solved this one with the defence, because remember, Cooper believed in strength in numbers in defence because our defenders were also crap. But then we've got Murillo and Milenkovic. We trust those 2 as a pairing. So what we need to do is find a trusted pairing of 2 in centre midfield. That's the problem, because it feels to me Like, because of a lack of two that can stand on their own feet, we're now all agreeing that we need to flood the midfield.
Rob, sorry to interrupt you. If you haven't seen West Ham's second goal, it is the funniest goal.
Oh, really?
It's against Leicester, isn't it?
Leicester is so bad, man.
And we've got to play them at home, by the way. Just to let you know, third from the last game of the season.
Chelsea have them next week when we're playing Man City.
We've got them as well. So
I know. Let's make sure you triple captain Cole Palmer for that. Triple captain Cole Palmer for that. Then ditch him after that.
No, I'm just worried they get rid of that Dutch fraud, man. They get rid of that Dutch fraud.
Didn't get involved.
Correct, that's correct.
All right, what else we got to cover off? Go on, Ez. Talk about your boy Taiwo.
What is it to say? I mean,
get these guys to hit the like button because I'm too flat to get them to do it.
You're so flat. But he should have come on sooner for me yesterday, probably around the 75-minute mark, because
70 affairs.
75 minutes. Because to be fair, you got to give Chris Wood's got enough in the bank for him to deserve at least 65, 70 minutes every game that he does start. So to pull him off keep using these terms. Take him off too early wouldn't have been fair on him. But Taiwo would look itching to come on, and I just felt yesterday he would come on and occupy their defense, and this is exactly what he did. He was a nuisance, so a bit more time for him. Again, he's another one who'll probably start against Ipswich. He did well in the last cup round. Unfortunately, that's also when he got injured, but he did look good in that game, and he scored a very good goal in my opinion. So Taiwo's got an opportunity to kind of give Nuno something to think about, and that's all we're asking for. He's not been an option all season, he's not been an option to change a game off the bench, and that's all we're asking from. That's all I want from Taiwo from now until the end of the season. We are stuck with our strikers and the squad that we've got right now, but every single player has still got to think that they've got a chance. I mean, Sosa and Jota have been nowhere near getting in the last couple of games, But they can't then think, oh, I'm out of it. So Taiwo, same mentality. I'm sure Nuno will give him the start against Ipswich. It's his chance to get at least 70, 80, if not 90 minutes under his belt, and then be an option for that Man City game. But in that Man City game, obviously, you're going to start with Chris Wood. But I'd like to think that, even if things are going well, you can bring a fully fit, rearing to go Taiwo on in the 60, 70th minute, and give them something else to think about at the end of the game, which is what we want. We don't want to get even ahead of games by 1-0, which we've done throughout the season, and think that that's enough. Because against teams like Man City, unfortunately, even when they're playing bad, when they were going through their awful run, we were the only team that they beat, so they seem to still manage to get something out of us. So let's just hope, Taiwo gets his mojo back in the Ipswich game, and then gives.
I was really pleased for Taiwo last night, because I was very impressed with the way he played. He looked, and funnily enough, again, going back to the FTV guys after the game, they were saying, we've got nobody. Look at them. They can be on Taiwo. Look at how he troubled our defenders. You know what I mean? So even they could see it. And he did. He looked really good. And I'm so pleased, because we need that, don't we? We, as a club, we need Taiwo.
Maybe Arsenal will buy Taiwo for 50 mil.
I was thinking that, because he always plays well against them.
Can we throw in Matt Turner?
Stop saying that name on air. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I don't know why you lot made me all negative tonight. I wasn't actually in a negative mood, but we really.
I was more than happy with what happened last stream.
You know what? It's something about you lot that just agitates me, man. That's what I'm concluding.
Yeah. That's not negativity. That's just annoyance, mate.
The irony is, since Ez told us to stop being negative, I now feel really negative after every stream.
No, I said just look at the bigger picture, man. We can't, like I say, we do have to have a look at the nuances, and when we review the games, and we've got to try and pick out the ifs, buts, and maybes throughout the game. And it is in hindsight. So to be criticized at times, I've seen we get criticized for talking in hindsight. That's literally the point of a review. We are talking in hindsight. We can see what's happening. We're going to say what we think we could have changed,
Well, the thing is, we absolutely love our players. We're naturally getting towards this time of the season when you get nervous for one reason or another, unless you're purely mid-table. So we're getting nervous.
I'm not nervous. I'm just flat.
Yeah, I know, but you change after every game, don't you? Let's be honest.
Yeah, don't go by him.
I just don't feel inspired by what I've seen in this last month.
Mate, there's nothing inspirational of last night apart from we got a draw at home to Arsenal. That was the only thing that you could do. And everybody else, by the way, the results for us the last couple of weeks have been pretty damn kind to us.
That's what's annoyed me, you know. If we'd won one or two of these games, we'd be like so clear right now in second place.
That's
the only thing. Then you have to look the other way, and if they'd have won, we could have been dropped down. So
if you take care of your business,
this is all just dread over the Man City game, and once it's out of the way, whether we win, lose, or draw, once that game is behind us, even if we lose it. If we lose it and we drop down to 5th, at least we then don't have to suffer it again, and we can put it in the rear view mirror.
I think everybody. I'm going so negative.
If we drop down to 5th, Rob, it's even worse.
No, look, that's likely. As I keep saying, Chelsea have got a banker at home to Leicester. Chelsea will beat Leicester, right? Now, even if we draw against Man City, Chelsea will go ahead of us on goal difference. We have to beat Man City to stay 3rd, right? So at the minute, we're looking at 3rd, and we're feeling like a bit of imposter syndrome there. We're feeling like we don't necessarily, our current run doesn't justify being in 3rd, and we're just waiting to let it slip. Do you know what? Even if we lose against Man City and drop down to 5th, which is the worst case scenario, it will be in the rear view mirror, and we can look forward to the last 10 games, which are all winnable. So I think we're all just subconsciously a little bit dreading that game. Just get it out the fucking way and then look forward to the rest of the season.
But I'll just take you back to what...
Well said, Rob. Well said, mate.
Well said. And I'll just take you back to what we discussed with Frank Clark on the last podcast as well. That bad period we went through over Christmas period in that 94-95 season, we only dropped down as far as 5th. We didn't go any lower than that, and we pushed our way back to 3rd, and we finished strong in that season. And that's what I'm expecting again this season.
You didn't laugh this time.
Say again?
You didn't laugh this time.
Mate.
I get it now. The thumb. I get it. Frank's thumb.
I'm not going to go.
Don't go there. Disrespectful to a legend.
Quite right.
But we've almost got a 3rd of a season to go. You know, it's not a few games. There's a fair.
Don't say that.
There's a fair chunk of a season to go.
I rather think we're nearly at the end of the season.
No. But listen, I don't want this season to end. If we keep,
I want it to end today, now. This
probably not a good time. No, probably not a good time to say that. But you know, there's been so many highlights already this season, and there's so much more to go. And I'm like I say, doing potential to do a double over Man U, you know, and we're at home against them, you know, and all these games still to come. We
don't get a trophy for that, man.
No, I know, but you get it's for memories, bro. What are we talking about? I'm still talking about 30 years ago. I'm still talking about 30 years ago like it was yesterday, because those memories you don't ever forget. And I'm hoping it's going to create memories for this generation of guys who've never seen us in this situation, never seen us in this position.
It doesn't feel like 30 years ago, Ez. You know what? I remember after we did the Frank Clark thing, like all the memories have come flooding back to me. And you remember the excitement. Collymore, Roy,
it's like we were saying early on, I don't feel anywhere near as excited about my team. Now, obviously, the football's different, but also I'm a lot older. Is it that? Is it the fact that I'm older? Maybe when you're younger, you've got a bit more fire in your belly. I don't know.
I'm 23.
It 100% makes a difference how you play. Like, at the end of the day, people won't accept it, but football is an entertainment sport. And if we play like we did yesterday, although I think a point was fine,
to a Derby fan.
It wasn't entertainment.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't compare someone like Stan.
Yeah, but Crypto, you're right. But if we'd have won yesterday, we'd have been bouncing, mate. We'd have been.
If we kicked a goal, 100%. But what I'm saying is, like, the type of striker Stan Collymore is not the type of striker Chris Wood is. Like, Chris Wood is brilliant. He gets into the right position and scores, you know, a really good goal. But Stan Collymore would run through 2 or 3 players, and you know, it's a different level of entertainment.
8 or 9, mate. 8 or 9.
Yeah, but in some ways there are still a lot of similarities to that team because we defended. We defended and got them on the counter attack, and it's what we're doing this season. So, how many games apart from obviously the Brighton game have we totally dominated a match? We have moments in games, and we kind of got used to it, and especially in that, like say, that winning run, fans were really like patient with the way we were playing because we knew it just took one moment, one break, and we could win the game, and that was it. And that's how we're playing at our best this season. Let's get back to that, and I think I'm totally positive we'll get back to it in the last 10 games. Go on.
Sorry, go
on.
After it.
Well, I was going to say, let's get through this Man City game, yeah.
I want to respond to something in the chat, which is tell us how we're going to beat City, Rob. I need a
war. I knew he'd see that.
I was at the corresponding fixture last season. Oh, here we go. So last season at home against Man City, it came down to a few moments where Chris Wood missed a couple of sitters in that game. And then Haaland, who was at the peak of his powers, did Murillo and slotted it in, right? This season, Haaland is shit, and there's no way Chris Wood is going to miss those chances. Chris Wood is going to score against Man City, and we're going to keep a clean sheet, and we're going to win 1-0. There you go.
You Reds, I'll take it.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant, Rob. I'm not sure about the Haaland is shit bit.
That's the bit he lost me on, man.
Yeah,
he scored yesterday.
Oh
my God. I didn't even compute that till you just said it, Rob.
I can't wait. Hey, you finally get to see Omar Marmoush at the City ground. It's what you've always wanted.
If he scores, I will never hear the end of it from these.
He's not going to beat Murillo and Milenkovic.
Oh, great! Now you just underlined a hat trick. Yeah, you're gonna double down here, man.
Sangaré is gonna sit on him, mate. It'll be fine.
Yates is gonna snap him in.
Yates is gonna kick him as well. Yeah.
Hey, Chris Wood scored against Man City the year before. Remember,
he did.
It was his first
19
goal.
goal that was.
He
19.
Yeah,
19 passes. Every player in the team touched it that day.
I thought it was 22.
I thought it was 20s, I thought it was in the 20s.
I thought it was 19.
You know who'll know this?
It's pretty damn
Mark
good.
Will know this. Mark's still in the chat. This is his kind of geeky question thing.
Yeah,
big up Fam Zone, man. Dean, I want some payment for giving you lot the league. AH3, thank you so much for the 9 months. You know what it might be, boys? I might just be tired, man. It's like my 4th stream of the day.
Oh, yeah, of course. But, bro, at the end of the day, you do kind of get wound up on the other panel shows, and then you take it out on us. I feel like sometimes, like,
we need to bench him.
He's so grumpy, and I'm like, let's not walking.
I think we should drop him just for give him like Aina, just give him a game on the sideline.
I need a Callum Hudson and Doy covering me when I come on here now. I can't do it alone. Oh God! Make sure you subscribe to
I keep wanting to say the stat, but it was a stat that Mark put in our group chat yesterday. That was the first 0-0. So certainly first 0-0 at home since we got promoted. So it wasn't 1998. He says was the last time in the Premier League. So that's a stat anyway. But it was
we drew Brighton 0-0. Oh, that was away. Okay, at home stat.
Been away, yeah. So at the City ground. So yeah, there's a stat. Another one.
I've got to tell you this, lads. I'm trying to find out how many passes. What I have found is on one of the occasions when City beat us, Phil Foden scored the goal after 46 passes. 46 passes.
For them.
You're meant to be cheering me up, man. It's not. I don't need cheering that up. What's the opposite of flat? Like I need
pumping up, mate.
I need D cups. I need to go from Keira Knightley to like Jennifer Love Hewitt.
You're basically you're like a decaf coffee instead of a caffeine coffee.
I think what you need to do is go on slightly less podcasts because you're getting worn out, mate.
How you all turned this on me, man?
Because
what's that actor who's in every film? Pedro Pascal. You're like the Pedro Pascal of YouTube. You're in every podcast.
Who the hell's Pedro Pascal?
He is. Yeah. Look, you go to the cinema. He's in every film at the minute.
You like Davina McCall, mate, back in the day.
It's the new. I was going to say the new Keith Richards, and that's not right, is it? It's the new Reed Richards in Fantastic Four.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's in everything. He's in every film.
You don't want to wear yourself out. You end up looking like Rob.
Oh, come on. That was
Rob's got an emoji now, mate. Rob's got an emoji, all right? Make sure you're spamming those emojis.
Yes.
All right, what else do we need to talk about?
That's it. End on a high.
And the high.
Yeah, we've done an hour and a half. People are fed up with
it. We've done an hour and a half. My God, man.
We need some more super chats to pay for crypto's fixed penalty notice.
To Dubai.
Yeah,
I'm not. I refuse to go to Dubai. I don't like that country. I'll take that money though.
Dubai's nice. The weather's
no, it's not, man.
Why? What? Yeah, it seems to be everybody seems to be wanting to go to Dubai, doesn't it? There are lots of other places in the world you can go that cost
less. I'd rather go
and have a lot better social system. Nothing political, but I mean, nightlife, if you like that kind of thing, or quietness, if you like that kind of thing. I would rather go to the Maldives. Absolutely.
What a nightlife you're gonna have in the Maldives, man. It's fucking hot on an island, man.
Dancing with the fish.
Yeah, it's beautiful, mate. It's beautiful. It's not just a hut anyway. You have a fantastic accommodation.
Are you saying Dubai doesn't have nightlife?
Hang on a second. I don't agree with people slating countries.
Not like Benidorm, Rob.
Nothing's like Benidorm, mate.
Classy ant right there, man. Benidorm.
I've never been to Benidorm. I've never been to.
Neither have I. Can you comment then? So can you comment?
I've been there. It's fine. It's nice. Weather's
what would you like to see? Well, maybe Forest will get to go to these places next season, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to every European game if we go. Unless it's in Latvia or something like that. But
you've got against Latvia now?
If you'd have listened, I did. No, if you'd have listened, I did say actually no, Latvia's quite nice. So I take that back.
Yeah, what he wants to say is like Azerbaijan or something.
Uzbekistan. I'm not keen on Uzbekistan.
You've upset our 9
because they're all Muslim, mate. Is that what it is?
No, Muslim, it's bloody cold and it's bloody scruffy. That's what I like a luxury when I go.
Wait, hold on. All right, let's see him answer this question. And Forest get to the final of the Champions League next season. You get offered a ticket. That final is in Azerbaijan. You going?
Of course, I bloody am.
You hypocrite! You hypocrite! On that
I'm talking about if it's a first round in the bloody Conference League.
All right, final of the Conference League.
Vic, I did say no. I take that back. Latvia's lovely. I did say that. I just couldn't think of a place. So.
All right, let's call it. I'm going to bed. I'm tired.
Mentioned
it
once.
For watching. I hope you've enjoyed these lots of stuff. Mine was shit today. Sorry, but I'm off to bed. Please like, subscribe, and smile.
Wolverine.
Oh, what kind of